So in kindergarten, boys and girls, we do something called math exemplars. So this is nothing in your Go Math books. So you don't need your Go Math books today. This is a Google slide that Miss Castro made that I'm going to post up in our Google Classroom. So that way you can refer to it later today. I'm not going to finish the whole thing today, but we will get started. I just wanted to start talking about it with you because very soon we're going to be doing math exemplars. So I'm going to explain to you what a math exemplar is, okay? A math exemplar illustrates the key concepts, skills, and steps required to solve successfully a given problem. So this is like problem solving. So in order to solve a problem correctly, we need to show, illustrate our work. And we're not just going to show one way how we get our answer. There are many different ways to find that answer. And that's what a math exemplar is, showing the different ways how to get an answer in math. So the rubric, it tells us how well we do in a math exemplar. So again, a math exemplar is a problem. We're problem solving and we're finding the different ways to get the answer. Now, this rubric may look a little confusing, but I'm going to break it down for you. The levels, there's 4 different levels. So it's kind of like our school's grading scale, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first level that they have is called novice. Novice would be a 1. The next level is apprentice. That would be a 2. The next level is practitioner, and that would be a 3. Last level is called expert, and that would be a 4. So I'm going to start with novice. Novice, it's explaining that they make an effort, but they don't really understand the problem. So then it breaks it down for you between problem solving, reasoning and proof, communication, connections, representation. I know this all looks like a lot, but as we continue with math exemplars, it will make more clear what each section means, okay? We all start as a novice. We're all new at learning this, so I'm not expecting anyone to be an expert. I'm not expecting anyone to be a practitioner. I'm not expecting anyone to be an apprentice, and that's okay. We're all novice. This is brand new. We're going to start learning it. We're going to do it together. And it's good that you boys and girls learn about it now, early on in the school year, so that way by the time kindergarten finishes in June, you will eventually be a practitioner or even an expert. So as an apprentice, which would be a level 2, you did a good try, but it's not really clear if you do understand the problem or not. So, again, they break it down for you. Like in the first section, problem solving, I only understand part of the problem. My strategy works for part of the problem. So you started to show a little bit of your work, but it's not fully 100% clear. Reasoning and proof. Some of my math thinking is correct. Some of my math thinking might be incorrect. And that's okay. Like I've always said, by the words of Bob Ross, we make happy accidents. We learn from that. So it's okay to do that. For communication, I use some math language or some math notation. So we have to learn about math vocabulary. So every time I'm using math words like greater than or less than, those are important math words. And there's going to be other math words that we learn too in kindergarten. For connections, I tried to notice something, but it is not about the math in the problem. So you try to make a connection and you try to figure out the answer, but it's not 100% clear. And then representation, I tried to use a math representation to help solve the problem and explain my work, but it has mistakes in it. And that's okay because we learn from our mistakes. We're all learning this together. All right. Let me stop there. So I explained what a novice and an apprentice is. More or less in kindergarten, boys and girls, you will be a novice and apprentice. It's going to take time for you to become a practitioner or an expert. I'm going to show you an example of what a novice looks like. So on the next slide, what they do is they give you a problem. So here is a breakdown of what a level 1 paper would look like. The problem says The title says books on shelves. So the problem says Miguel has 2 shelves. Miguel has 6 books. Miguel wants to put books on the 2 shelves. How many different ways can Miguel put books on the 2 shelves? So we're going to show and tell how you know. So the student was trying to explain that they would draw a diagram. A diagram is a math term that we use to say we're going to use an illustration. So an illustration, what we do in writing, is a diagram in math. So what the student here did was they stated what the first sentence says, and the first sentence says Miguel has 2 shelves. So the next part here, right underneath that, the student illustrated the 6 books. Right underneath it, the student illustrated 2 shelves. So they did a good job showing that there's 6 books, but he did not explain how those 6 books are going to be put on the 2 different shelves. So what the student did was they took the 6 books and they added the 2 shelves, and they did 6 plus 2 equals 8. So they were understanding that it's a math problem, but they didn't show the work to correctly get the answer. And the diagram, one important idea that we have to remember in math is we have to do a key. So you know how we need a key to get into the door? So in math, we need a key to help the reader understand what the illustration is talking about. So to the bottom left, they made a box, they wrote inside of it key, and then they illustrated a square, which shows it's a book. Because if we illustrate a square, I might think it's a window, you might think it's a pizza box. So it's important to explain what your illustration is showing, okay? I know this has a lot of information. We're gonna get through this process this week. We're gonna start with our first math exemplar together, boys and girls, so that way eventually you understand and you'll be able to do it on your own, okay? I'm gonna show you very briefly, and then I'll go into more detail about what a level 2 paper looks like. So this is apprentice. So it's the same problem, the books on shelves, how Miguel has 2 shelves, he has 6 books, and he wants to put the 6 books on 2 different shelves. So here, there's a little more detail as to how he's getting his answer. As you can see here, he illustrated the bookshelf. He put a line in the middle, and then he was showing the different ways of putting the 6 books on the shelf. So you could put 3 on one side, 3 on the other. You could put 1 on one side, 5 on the other. You could put 5 on one side, 1 on the other, or 4 on one side, 2 on the other, or 2 on one side and 4 on the other. So that's a way of explaining how to put the 6 books on the 2 shelves. Like I said, boys and girls, I know this is a lot of information. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. We're going to continue working on this all week. So I am going to put this Google Slides on our Google Classroom right as we finish. So that way you can explore it more on your own. And then tomorrow we're definitely going to talk more about this. Okay.